That link is for one person and one person only. The link is not for anyone else. So that's that. Hello? Okay, that's very weird. Why was that phone call not ending? I hope he fucking ended the call. It's very weird. Yeah. Here we go. Perfect. That was perfect. Hey. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me, Rocko?
Yeah. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was just trying to find that link. I was hoping you just cut and paste that to me. I guess you
No,
stuck it
I
in the
usually
chat.
just drop it in the chat and then I go like this.
Okay.
Really, I delete it right away. Trust me.
I know. It's just hard for it's like looking around. I would rather just have napped and not looked around for a link. I just drove home from like Washington today, so I didn't get much rest.
Oh, you didn't?
No. All right. All right. Well, let's do it.
So, how'd you feel about your trip to Montauk?
It was great. It was eye-opening. Hold on a second here. I take it you've already seen the documentary, The Lost Souls of Montauk, done by Dark Hour Paranormal Michael Roser.
Yeah, that was good. That was really good.
Okay. And
kind of woke me.
Yeah, because I remember when we were speaking earlier, Rocco, you kept saying poo-pooing secret space programs, space is a fantasy, space this and that. And I kept trying to say, man, are you sure? But now you're saying it's triggering memories.
Well, that's because I was in denial. And honestly, I was okay, so if you remember what Preston said in the video about like 32 to a certain age, well, I think I was going through a set of Omega, and like last year at one point, I really wanted to just literally hit the off switch. Like, it took everything in me not to. So like I was, being lied to, manipulated, by many sources, more than one.
So now that you're on the other side of that, how does that feel? Now that you see it objectively,
it's rather topsy-turvy. It's knowing and remembering, like it's to me, it's like two different things, right? If I know, but if I really remember, it's like, wow. It's like, whoa, when it comes more clear, and then I was looking at the documentary and how everybody was getting along and, things were going well. I was like, man, that would have been a really cool thing to, follow along with. I might have picked up lost memories. I mean, not that I haven't in the past when I went there. But I think it might have been a little bit more impactful because there's more energy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first of all, just being around all the different survivors and getting to speak with them together and separately, that was all I needed for confirmation that these people are real. Okay. In the meantime, I've heard from several people, okay, maybe Brian, I have memories of you in the programs. For me, that's neither here nor there. In that,
yeah,
it doesn't change my mission. I'm still throwing the conference in Florida in July, throwing it all down. Still organizing. It doesn't change anything. It's not like, if I learned anything, maybe it would make me organize that much harder. But, I take it from a Dolores Cannon perspective. We've all lived multiple lives. We've all done multiple things. So whether or not I was in these programs or not, doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't. Time doesn't exist in Montauk, but it doesn't. I don't believe it exists there.
Well, what John Whitberg and others say is they put it in a time bubble, so that it could operate based off of an April spring day. I think it was 1972 is when they froze it.
Yeah,
a 15-minute window, closer towards sunset or something like that.
Yeah, it's deep. It's deep. The whole thing is deep.
So what memories have you recovered?
Well, I have quite a few. I mean, I think it's a hydrogen collider or between space and time, how they found a way to punch through space and time. I do remember an underground area, and the weirdest part is I now looking back, it felt like the ground would shake at times in certain areas around Camp Hero. Like there was something going on beneath that ground. Like when I went inside the radar tower, I actually put my ear to the ground and I heard actual generators going. And this was like 2014. So yeah, I went through there a couple of different times.
And then it's since gotten filled up with water. Like they literally flooded all that, didn't they?
Yeah.
So that
Or
happened after
they've
2014.
closed it. They've closed, but that don't mean that there's possibly something else out there that's going on, hidden. Um, because Montauk is a weird place, so it's very weird. It's very weird. But yeah, no, I do remember JP. I do remember ARC. I do
And when you
remember
say JP, is that JP? Is that the person who's talking to Dr. Michael Sala on exopolitics.org?
Joseph Powell.
Oh, JP. Okay, Joseph Powell. Okay, because that's helpful. Good. You can remember Joseph. Yeah, because there's someone else. It's a totally different voice.
Well, there was a point there when the Omega programming. I think Joseph did a little bit of work on me, and I couldn't handle some of it, and it triggered like some Omega programming in both of us. Like it hit him first, but then it hit me twice as hard. Like, so I did work with him a little bit, and at the time there was this I was learning about the twinning and all that stuff, and there was a girl by the name of Jessica that was in the program while we were in the program together. I was the one that actually came up with the sub levels that was taken out of my context, because I actually drew a picture and I sent it to Brian Mimic. I sent it to several people.
Brian Minnick of Montauk is Strange.
Yes. I sent it to him. But I drew it. It was like weird. I woke up one morning and I just drew it completely out. And like, there's like a supercomputer, I believe in sub 11, or I believe it's sub level 11 that we remember from when we were there. Now, keep in mind, could have been another dimension. You know what I mean? Could have been another. It could have. Who knows what it could have been? Like, it doesn't matter that we weren't in that age bracket. It doesn't matter.
So when you remember Arkeem and you remember Joseph, do you remember any of the portals or anything like that? Do you remember the trips
I
there?
remember a lot of torture. I remember a lot of rape. I remember at one point being forced to do something in front of everybody. And I didn't like what that was. And, it's one of those things, though, that, we got together, we started working together. I met Arkeen. Actually, he called me. He asked me, I gave him my number, and he called me, and we met. And I guess at that time, me and Joseph were just starting to work together. And then we brought Ark in, and it went to hell, kind of, in a way, and things started, tipping as they would want them to. They would rather us be divided than any kind of unity. I can tell you that right now. I've noticed that amongst us, we do have arguments with one another quite a bit. But yeah, I remember rooms. It was weird when I watched the documentary. It was really weird how I saw when Arkeen was talking about the television and being told to tell the color behind the television screen. That kind of popped a memory in my mind too. And I always been saying for a while now that the TV can mind control. That's why I stay away from television as much as possible.
Now, Rocco, do you remember anything up in space specifically?
I only remember like missions, but I can't like recall exactly what types of missions. More like assassin missions, um, uh, rescue missions, other soldiers, I believe, that were on the side of Mars in a cage. The real them, and they were replaced here, at points. I do believe that can happen.
So do you remember? So you remember? Let's list out who, because this is really, I think, helpful to people to out there to learn how the people stepping forward with testimonies have memories of each other, and you can ask them together, you can ask them separately. So you remember Arkeem, you remember Joseph Powell, do you remember Susan Long?
I remember Susan. Yes, I do, by one memory, but I'm sure there's more. I'm looking into doing actual hypnosis session or work with her here in the near future.
How about Carl Dory?
Who?
Carl Dory?
I don't recall. No, I don't.
James Rink?
Um, I believe I do remember James, because like they were talking about that with the cages and stuff on the side of Mars, and they believe that he might have been replaced at one point. Me and James had a problem because I had an assassin's, I want to call it, creed against him. I don't know if it was programmed into me to do it, or attempt or being told to. And I'll be real. I did. I threatened quite a few people. But that was because I'm not blaming it all on the programming, but it's a huge part of it, because they did not want me to know what I know today. They did not want me to know. And I had a guy on not too long ago, a gentleman that, pretty much grew up out there, who's been on, numerous television shows and History Channel. But he has a gift. Preston told him he had a gift to deprogram. And I believe that he had his hands in on it a little bit, because he could do it like through voice. Like for some reason that night when we were on that interview, I was kind of getting like really, really tired. Really tired.
What interview with who?
It's Joe Lafrino. You can look him up on YouTube. He's been actually hypnotized and put under, and he has memories of Preston and the older crew. I don't know about Duncan or any of those guys, but I recall Preston, I believe it was here in the 90s because of all that stuff. But I do have a memory of, it's weird because every time I pass this gas station, Hess, it's out in the Watermill area. And it was really close to where my dad and my handler at the time were living, and his handler. She was a witch. And basically what she would do was she'd wait till my dad would go to work, and then she'd take me out there on weekends. And I remember Preston being there. And I was basically told if I said anything, I'd be put in a mental institution, or no one's going to believe you, and I asked my mom, and she was like, I always had a feeling that that woman was a witch. And I mean,
So you're connecting this Hess station and this lady with the
well,
programs.
the Hess station part was okay. I was with a friend, my best friend, who will not get on the internet and won't speak. I don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll feel comfortable speaking with you. I don't know. I can ask him. Out of the people that I remember in this reality, right, that I can actually pinpoint, there might be 2 or 3 that I know, like that I've met in person, like in person in this reality that we're in here, are dead from either overdosing, some are in jail for the rest of their lives. So I had to leave New York because of this type of stuff. I mean, it was getting crazy. I mean, people were dropping left and right, and I thought maybe I was going to be next. But I started digging into this in 2014. So it was just from a brief dream of a tower by the water. And I just so happened hit my laptop, and right on my screen was some preview for the Christopher Gaetano's documentary, the Montauk Chronicles. And I don't know if it was the music, I don't know what it was, but I got drawn to it. And that's when some of these memories started to come. But I was having major blockage. But I was also abusing alcohol because I didn't want to go to sleep. Because after a couple of times of not wanting to, or dealing with a dream and not remembering anything or not being able to explain it correctly, was hard as it is. I think I've had a couple of different experiences with rituals with, I don't want to say names, but I think it was done on purpose. I was binded. But back to the Hess gas station. We were walking out, and it was a white van. It wasn't black. It was a white van, and it followed us a little ways. It followed us. And all of a sudden, I remember being jerked up into this white van and taken out to an underground base. But I didn't know that it was Montauk, right?
Where's the Hess station located?
In Watermill,
New Jersey?
No, Watermill, the Hamptons. Like literally, I stayed like I was prime suspect for anything going on that part of Long Island. Like, because I lived right there, you know what I mean? I was easy access.
It's right there for Montauk. It's right there for them to pick you up. It's just a couple towns down from Montauk.
Well, my mom has the I remember signing permission slips for me to go out there whenever the school wanted to. Like, what the hell? That it's not a red flag. Like, I don't know, but I could literally. So, I remember that part, but then I remember waking up in the middle of the woods. All I had on was a pair of pants, no shoes, no socks, and no shirt. Now, how the hell did I end up from being in a van? I remember being underground just briefly, but then all of a sudden I'm in the middle of the woods, and then I'm walking through the woods wondering, I don't want to go in the middle of the street, because if I go in the middle of the street, people are going to be like, what's this guy doing? You know what I mean? Like, so I was freaked out, number one. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to go back. And I was scared to death. I was like, you know, that's all I really had. And for a long time, I suppressed it. So I just didn't say anything, went in the house, got, new shoes, new clothes, and just it was weird. It's one of those things.
So everything you're reporting on, our team talks about the white vans, like the talented and gifted type programs, and signing of permission slips or whatever.
Also, special education. I actually was in school with a kid who was in the special education. He is now a CIA agent. So just because a kid goes into, that's what I mean. I look at special education too as an easy way because a lot of those kids are gifted. A lot of those kids are gifted. Like somebody with autism can be very gifted. Just because they have autism doesn't mean that they don't have spiritual like gifts that these people really are looking for. Blonde hair, blue eyes, looking for guys who are going to shut their mouths. They were going to follow orders, seek and destroy, go on missions, do whatever they want you to do. You're their guinea pig. You belong to them. You're basically, you might as well just say you have a prison number. That's how I look at it.
And then you remember not only the cages at Montauk in the sub-levels, the basement areas, but you said you also may have remembered being in cages on some of the Mars stuff.
Briefly. I do know that there's a city. I do know that there's some kind of city there. I don't know. I don't have full recall on what it really looks like or anything. I'm trying to get there. But I have a funny feeling that if I go and I do hypnosis again, I think that it's going to flood me even more Montauk or whatever that's connected to it. I also heard, I think it was James in the documentary, he said something about Brookhaven. Well, they also used to take us kids on class trips to Brookhaven as well. So very well, it can all be tied together. But I know that there's tunnels that run, I'm sure, definitely from Brookhaven to all the way up to Montauk and beyond. It's crazy. It's nuts. Manhattan too. I mean, it sucks. It really does. But
Now, do you
remember being a little? I guess I was at one point when me and Joseph started talking. I was kind of like one of the. Eventually, I got to do what I wanted, kind of, and got away with things from what he said. But I can't remember. It was something to do with I had a gun and he made me give it to him and he destroyed Montauk. Something with Montauk and destroying. I don't know. I can't remember the full exact what he said because it's been so long. But
maybe he's referring to Montauk 3.0. After one of the kids summoned Junior, the Sasquatch, to tear up the base and chase away the bad guys for a while. Arkeem and Joseph may have run a series of, with others, positive type missions to try to undo the damage from Project Phoenix, the Montauk project, where the cabal types were trying to negatively affect the timeline. So maybe that's what that memory was from.
Yeah, maybe, but I do have horror. Like it was, I mean, some of the things, it's just, unimaginable what they would do. Like unimaginable what they would do. Like you know, what, yeah.
When you're talking about, when you say they, are you speaking to humans, or are you talking about like reptilian types, or both? Like a lot of people
I think
in our
both.
circles, yeah, they seem to recall Colonel Michael Aquino, for example, on the so-called human side.
No, but Jack Pruitt looks pretty familiar.
Now, do you feel that the portrayal of Jack Pruitt in the Martian or the Montauk Chronicles, was that accurate? Did that look like him?
I've never actually seen. I've looked him up on the internet, and I really can't find anything on him. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like it's.
Well,
It's
there's
weird.
I mean, they have a depiction of him. They have an actor who portrays him, at least in, I
Yeah,
think it's the,
Paul something. He's also been in Mad Men, and he's been in quite a few films. I mean, I think honestly, that's the type of treatment I do remember. You know, very hands-on, very demanding. You're gonna do this, or you're gonna do. If you don't do this, you're not gonna eat. If you don't do this, you're not gonna. Yeah. So it was like you either did what you were told to do, or you dealt with consequences.
and that was Jack Pruitt.
That's what I remember. I remember him pretty rough.
Because he was supposed to be the CIA kind of military intelligence handler guy that both Al Bielek and
Duncan,
Preston Nichols and all of them reported to, right?
right, right.
Yeah, all I can say is, Susan Long and I think Veronica Bartolini both say that they have recollections of me in something called the Hulk program, where
Yeah.
Susan was like in on an assembly line in like a cyborg body, being like pumped full of fluids and having cables like stuck to her. And she said it was painful. And then she said she had recall of like me being in like a white lab coat up on the second floor, and like
I could see that.
Like the lab section.
I could see that.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that to me is wild, but I have zero recall of anything, and I have zero tells, if you will, or pretty much. So, like I said, whether I was or wasn't doesn't seem to matter right now. Now, have you been getting any? I know you and I were discussing a while ago how your alter, Danny, might have physically died, and then so there's a possible period of reintegration where when an alter in a clone body dies, that alter can choose to reintegrate with the main person they split off of.
Correct. Right. Correct.
And then also in the meantime, if they haven't yet reintegrated, like in this case, Danny with you, then it's possible for Danny as kind of his own alter soul fragment to wander around as his own.
Weirdly enough, I felt like when I don't know who the gentleman was who screamed in the documentary, but when he screamed, my body felt it, right? And it was like it was almost like you guys were freeing a lot of stuff. Like I could feel that energy because I literally.
Are you talking about when we were in the circle at Camp Hero by the barracks?
Correct.
And we're doing
in the planetary grid. Yeah.
Okay. And you could feel the energy coming off of that?
Yes, I can.
It's really interesting because, I was there in person, and I'm not sensitive. My third eye is all blocked or whatever. And I was surrounded by people, and, Arkeem, he's chanting in tongues, like light language. Other people are reporting seeing millions or billions of golden orbs busting out of the ground and into the sky. I didn't feel, I felt good, but I didn't see or feel or hear anything other than that. What did you feel?
Well, I wasn't there, but I felt like I was there. I'm gonna be real. It was like a weird feeling. Like it was kind of weird. Um, but I felt like a lot of the unsettledness there was being dissolved. Understand? Like it was being dissolved and sent to where it would have freedom. I feel like the soldiers went and did what they were supposed to do. The chosen ones. It's not everybody's chosen to do every task when it comes to something. Just like if maybe I go to Montauk, it might be for other reasons. Who knows? It might be to recall memory or lay something in rest. Or now I do believe Dan might be there. I do believe he might be there. It went back to where he can go. I don't know if he knows somebody else.
The fact that we were there in a large group, definitely working together with people who are more psychically sensitive, that definitely seemed to make a difference than if you were to say go there alone. You might be more likely to go there to do individual work or recover memories, heal trauma.
Yeah, where you got to be kind of like in an isolated situation at times, where you can't be around a whole bunch of people, especially if you're going to Rocko. You know what I mean? Like that's the scary part, is because I can turn around and that person I might have remembered being a torturer of mine, and I might react a certain way, or somebody might react. That has happened before, and with other soldiers, unfortunately.
Now, is it any consolation that that person who was torturing you in that memory was probably an alter, and that wasn't them in the here and now?
Well, now I can say that, yeah. Now I would understand that, because an altar is a part of you, a part of your soul. So, yeah, absolutely. And several altars could be split into several different timelines. So who knows?
And then, now that we're talking about timelines and altars, if an altar is in another timeline and that altar dies in that clone body, then even though it's in a different timeline, it doesn't matter. That altar will still want to come back to reintegrate with you, possibly in a totally different timeline that that it got separated from.
Right. Yeah, that's
a lot of this is really interesting, because when you get into this, the quantum nature of the universe, or the law of one in our souls, and there really does seem to be like a physics, a system to it.
That's why physics are really into this stuff. They're into these topics.
Yeah, at least the more advanced physicists, at least the ones who aren't stuck on the Einstein stuff, and the ones who are more willing to go with Bohr's and Heisenberg.
Yeah.
Spooky action at a distance, quantum effects, because with quantum mechanics, it can't eliminate time and space, whereas Einstein really didn't like that, but that was too bad. He was wrong.
Right. So yeah, and then so I was working with Joseph, right? been for there for a while, and then I don't know, something happened. I guess I don't know if it was Pindar or what altar it was. Uh, Jealousy came into the picture because I was talking with somebody that I believe he liked, and I knew she was a married woman. And I knew I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I'm not even. It's not that, but
Well,
Jessica came out one time and he did not like what he saw. So I got in a lot of trouble. I got pulled into the office. So, yeah, and I'm talking about in the real here and now.
yeah, I've heard this, and I know there's stuff that, people in the community talk about it. Well, let's just put it out there for our audience who isn't as clued in. When you're dealing with this community with people who've been in programs and MK Ultra and trauma bonding, and all that, is it going to be a surprise that sometimes the interpersonal relationships of people in the community in the here and now aren't exactly the smoothest? Let's put it that way. And having said that, as an organizer and an advocate, what I found is a lot of the work, quote unquote, is just holding space for people, letting them do their own shadow work, hoping and encouraging them to have forgiveness and grace for themselves and for others, and to identify who the real enemy is. That's the cabal, the programmers, the people who are profiting off of all this, and certainly not people who are abducted as children pit against one
And
another.
Courtney, by the way, it was a programmer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's
the hard part. That's the hard part. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is was it her or was it an
An altar.
Right. So then,
but
it's
yeah,
then
no,
it's like
Susan's
all
had a
bets are off.
bionic eye too. That's what a right bionic eye, she said.
Yeah, she says a lot of you guys have bionic eyes for like monitoring and I guess to interface with equipment and stuff like that. So like to make it easier to interface with like say bionic armor or whatever. Or
Yeah, my eyes switch a lot too.
Yeah,
I don't know what that's
that could be indicative of all sorts of stuff. Do you feel like that? Do you have any funny teeth, implanted teeth, any weird wisdom teeth that vibrate?
No.
I had other people talk about that. And then the other thing is on the spiritual side, do you feel that you've gotten any positive beings reaching out to you? Do you have any recall of that, or is it all just trying to deal with the negative stuff? The program.
Well, I mean, I feel like my sole purpose is to help with unity. And that's why I'm opening this platform and I'm letting all super soldiers, whatever MK Ultra, whatever, sex kit, whatever, it doesn't matter, whatever you went through, sexual abuse, whatever. I'm leaving this panel, for that type of, interviews. So people can just get on here and talk about things. I mean, it'd be cool to have ARC and all of us on one panel just, enjoying it. That would be cool. That would be cool. Goals, you know what I mean? Small goals, building my channel, making sure, eventually good will flood the bad. You know what I mean? And that's it. Takes time.
Well, here's more consolation then for you, Rocko. Having gone through great trials and tribulations and pains and sufferings, that means that on the other side there's spiritual reward for that, and learning and knowledge and wisdom. So hopefully, with the depths of misery, there's also great heights.
Right. There is. I believe there is. It's just trying to, you know, I don't know. It just, that whole thing, with Joseph kind of like has been stuck on my mind. And then this tribute to Danny or whatever, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, John Whitberg, he's been doing sometimes tribute music videos because he has a lot of recall of being not only in the Montauk Project or Project Phoenix is supposedly the proper military project name. He also recalls being in something called Project Ibis. And then it's on scrib.com for free. It's called The Man with Periwinkle Eyes. And it's about one of his alternates, Kyle Delshow, being used in Project Ibis. And, it's free, so it's super accessible. I finished it in a day. And I wouldn't be surprised if when you read that, Rocko, that if it didn't trigger memories for you as well.
What is it called now?
The Man with Periwinkle Eyes. It's on scribd.com. And let me see if I can pull it up. I don't have it on this computer. I've got it on the other one. But it's by John Whitberg.
Oh, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, I mean it's a free read. Is what it is.
That's cool.
Yeah, free online by John Whitberg. And if we could, we'd like to get Joel Kinnaman to narrate the audiobook version and star in the film version someday.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Now, nothing's stopping you from reaching out directly to Joseph Powell and saying, hey,
well, no, he blocked me. I tried already. This was a while ago, but I mean, who knows? Maybe you could discuss it with him.
Yeah, I'm sure I could extend an olive branch of peace. People in the community these days seem to be much more interested in disclosure than in dealing with interpersonal drama back and forth.
That's what it's about. Disclosure needs to be it's a definite. It needs more. The truth needs to come out than just us arguing about stuff we really have no control over. Because it happened then. It's kind of like it is hard to stay in the here and the now, especially. Like sometimes I want to go back to 1990. I really do. Like I really want to, but then I'm like, as I recover these memories, like when I was on that interview, the guy's voice, all of a sudden my ears literally started to ring. And then I got this overwhelming sense of being tired, like drained. I went to sleep, and that's when I woke up from that dream with the band. That it's weird how they threw that.
Well, do you feel? I mean, it almost sounds like you were targeted in a way, but then the targeting is one thing, but then recovering that memory is another. And like I wouldn't expect that they would target you and want you to recover a memory. It almost sounds like they targeted you, and as a result of getting whapped again, maybe that helped trigger some recall.
Every day there's something new. It's like I can remember a lot of this stuff and explain it better than I could before. Before what I had was I call it mixed emotions mixed in with my memory. It's like emotions with the
So as you unpack the memory, it unpacks the emotions in you. So like literally feels like you're getting hit in the gut. or you got to
Oh
buy.
yeah, man. I've had them bad like that where I've had to go lay down because I've had vertigo. I end up getting vertigo really bad, and I'll have to literally crawl in a ball. And sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I cry. You know, it, and
Sharon Isley describes a very similar scenario for when she was recovering some of her more rough memories.
yeah, no, I mean, I don't like what I've done to, I think I did some horrible things to Arkeem. I mean, you know, I, I, I
I
believe
know
that.
he has one horrible memory of you. He has a memory of you trying to get him to turn a ship around or something and go back to base. And he said that you were like holding a gun to his head or something like that. That was a
Oh
memory.
man, oh my God. See, that's what I mean. Yeah, that makes sense now. I envisioned the ship, and I was trying to get him to move it.
So, would you say that in addition to your memories, your recall being more clear, you're being more free of the programming? Maybe it's because you're hitting like a 37-year-old mark, you're getting a little bit older, so the programming's breaking down. But you also feel that the bad guys, if you will, they're also losing their ability to mess with you and everyone else. Maybe they're running out of money, they're too busy, they themselves are being hunted down and brought to justice. Or do you feel like, oh no, this is as much targeting and hassle as you've ever gotten, whether 5, 10 years from now or before or today?
Well, it's gotten a lot better. It's gotten a lot better. It's not as bad. It still comes and goes. I can't tell you if tomorrow is going to be a beautiful day because tomorrow might be a horrible day. You know what I mean? And Preston Nichols has said it. Many people have said it. Who wants to go back in their own horror? But at the same time, it's like, well, I want these memories. Because I do want to write a book. I do want to put the story out there the way that I remember, and maybe correlate it with somebody else, another, soldier, space soldier. I'm kidding. It was like I was in complete denial of the space program, and I think what it was is I was afraid of what others were gonna think, and now I'm like, you know what? No, that's actually we served in a sense. We served.
Yes, they owe you big time. They owe you for decades of service, literally. And
Right.
and so this is why I tie the secret space program stuff to all this, the ritual abuse stuff and the halls of power down here on Earth, because it
Now,
has
did
to.
you get to visit Shadmore Park?
I don't think I got to go. Is that there in the Montauk area?
It's the where they did Brian Mimic has a video on his page of that girl screaming in there or something. And
Oh, okay.
all
Well,
right,
yeah, we went. So we
yeah,
went there. This is where the cliffs are, right by the lighthouse.
yeah.
And this is where so it might have been there that Arkeem had a shared memory with Chastity Campbell, and I've spoken about this, where they were in cages next to each other, and he was like 9 and she was like 5, and
Mm.
she just arrived and he'd already been hell on earth there for like 4 years already, and she's bawling her eyes out but saying, "My parents are gonna come get me. You'll see." And then Arkeem was saying to her, "No, they're not. They're never gonna find you. Just like the rest of us, you're screwed." And
What?
yeah, and he apologized to her, and she remembered him. That they remembered that they hugged each other, and so that was a memory they shared. another memory that they and the others shared were doing flying lessons off these rocky cliffs here.
Yeah, okay. That explains why I have those dreams of falling off the radar tower all the time.
Right, and then you could have right. So then, you could mess up, and if you didn't levitate right, you'd fall to your whatever and shatter your ankle.
Yeah, and bust yourself up pretty bad.
Put yourself up. Yeah, I mean that's a nasty fall. I'm looking at the pictures here, and I remember it in person. That I wouldn't want to fall off that rock like Peter Pan. Oops. But
No,
not,
you wouldn't. Hell no. Yeah, I almost fell one time off the cliff. You know.
Here I'll share. Let me share the screen for anyone watching. These cliffs are nasty, and then they're right down the way. Oh, you might have to let me present.
Yeah, I got you.
We got Jasper Cummings. He was targeted by SquareWorks Media's Square
No,
South.
do listen to him, man. Yeah, that's it. That's it right there.
Right.
That's where I was taken as a child. Go up. All the way up. That's Shadmore Park. No, back up.
Right here.
Up one more. Up one more. No,
I'm all the way up.
Right here. This one right here. Where my finger is.
I can't see it.
Above the one that you just one above this one.
But I mean, yeah, and you can see like that's
rock. It's a rock in the middle of the yeah, it's up at the top. But it's that right there. Yeah, that's Shadmore Park.
Yep.
That's Shadmore Park. Yeah, that's where I remember being taken and a ritual being done on me inside that place.
Right here, I was on a long the
Yep.
Camp Hero here.
Yep.
You got it right there.
I remember the ritual and all. It was horrible, man. It was horrible.
Oh, they had a ritual too. Oh boy. Yeah, and it is right down the way from what do you call it? From the Montauk Lighthouse. That very famous and picturesque. Here, I'll pull it up. Why not?
The lighthouse.
Yeah, everyone knows the Montauk Lighthouse and the Sage Radar Tower.
Well, and some people don't know about the radar tower. It's funny.
Oh, I'll pull that up too. But the Montauk Lighthouse, I forget who, it might have been John or Arkeem. He remembers trying to get away up here with his trauma twin to hide from the tormentors from time to time. Let's see.
Yeah, that is an area. Yep. There's a radar tower when it was it.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's the Montauk Sage Radar Tower
right there. Wow.
So yeah, I mean that's how I know people aren't faking it, and who wants to make up memories like that, much less people combining their memories.
Yeah, I don't want to make up that stuff. That would take too long.
Well, that and the stuff that people say about Preston that never made it to print, the stuff about how sick that dude was.
No, Preston. Oh, those memories. Yeah. Preston was a sick man. He would after do masturbation in front of him. And he'd say, "This is deprogramming."
Yeah, right. Exactly. It says even after the programs, he was still trying to do weird stuff with people and claim it was deprogramming.
And nobody really ever had anything. I mean, I guess apparently him and Moon got along pretty well, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, Peter Moon he's the author who wrote the books and got to sell the books. And then still, as far as I know, hasn't gone on to clarify the record since people like myself have reached out to him to say, hey, Peter, we think the real story, the real person.
Well, I don't. Okay, so Brian Mimic said Montauk equals Fowler, which kind of like, whoa, you know what I mean when he said that, right? Because I didn't realize that I guess the Fowlers or something, where there's a connection with the Indian tribe or something, the Fowler family. Yeah. So that goes back to my family. So that goes back even further. You know what I mean? Then and we're talking before the project, I'd say.
Yeah,
You know?
there's probably time travel and soul projects.
That'd be an
contracts,
interesting
soul
thing
contract.
to find out about. Yeah. If
Like, he probably has
I
to have an
want to
ancestral
really
karma.
like break all ties to anything in Montauk if there are any that need to be broken, or if it's just I'm having the memories, you know what I mean? Or am I still connected? And like Arkeen said something that really sparked my mind in that interview. And I was listening to him real keen for some reason. And it was like, okay, I'm remembering it now. What the hell when the kid goes up with the badge? You know, it's like we're programmed. Boom. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing just shook me. Like, and I realized, okay, there might have been a chance. I don't know. My memory might not be real. It might not. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I'm having this thought or memory, whatever it is. But I was in that room with the TV, same thing, being like almost waited on to do the same thing he's going to do and then be sent on to do something else. I also remember him being in a room. Joseph Powell explained this one to me. Wow, this came up.
So
they pulled. Okay, so I went in one room, right? It's a gun on the table. And I say, you're going to kill this person. And I said, the person is innocent. No, you're going to just pull the. And they pulled the bag off some girl one time. And I remember having it. That was it.
Right. So, and this is a very common memory that a lot of people in the programs have, where they're sitting in a room across a table from someone and they're told to kill the other person. And then if they don't, like, all sorts of bad stuff happens and you get killed anyway. And then it's like after a certain point, you're programmed to just to kill the other person across from you. And to some extent, they may be using clones and regeneration. So, you know, it's not as bad as it appears to be, obviously, but that would definitely be traumatizing. And then the memory you're speaking to that Archie was recalling, has been recalling in some of his interviews, is where returning from a time mission, a computer would play a tone, boop, and then it would say the year is blah or the date is this, and then welcome back.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense. And Audrey Walters is saying that there really are in the Galactic Courts a faction known as the Time Lords, and they deal with time crimes, you know, like Time Core, as shown in that TV show Loki, where the reason why they're Time Lords is apparently they do not suffer void sickness or time travel sickness from going back and forth in time or going through these voids. And with a lot of these stargates, what Audrey says is if your DNA and your vibration is not properly aligned, the stargates will harm you and cause you to get sick because they don't want people abusing the stargates to raid across the universe. And so that's a safeguard.
Yeah, I'd say it is. I'd say it's definitely a safeguard.
Now, Rocko, how long is your show traditionally? Is it an hour? How long do you go for?
I go for about an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay. Well, since we're at the hour mark, What would you like to discuss from here?
Anything you want. Talk about the conference.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to shamelessly plug my conference because that's definitely what I got on my mind these days.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that's what. Yeah,
yeah. Well, here, I'm going to present my screen again, and then I'm going to pull up my conference website. Okay. And basically, this is going to be this July, barely a month and 5 days from now at the Serrata Beach Resort. And the idea is that we need to expose all of this stuff in order to achieve our Star Trek future. If we're being lied to and told there's no such thing as endless, clean, free energy, well, we're not going to get it. If we're being told there's no such thing as medical beds that can regenerate body parts and everything, bring people back from the edge of death, well, then we're not going to get those medical beds either, and on and on and on. And then the reason why we call it full disclosure is because we also want to talk about all the dirty deals with the negative ETs and the people in the highest positions of power for humanity who've unfortunately sold out. And many of them have done these dark rituals, and they've definitely done crimes against humanity. And that's why we do not expect for disclosure to be top down, like the Pentagon's going to release files or something. This is really from the bottom up, getting together everybody who survived these programs to name names, call out the Colonel Michael Aquinos, point out where the nasty underground military bases are. And so we've got, I'm sure, Rocko, a lot of people are, in the community are acquaintances and friends and fellow survivors, everyone from Penny Bradley and
yeah.
Arkeem Ra and Drago Reed and Susan Long. I don't know if you remember Drago from any of the programs.
No.
Or maybe you might recognize Audrey Walters. She was in some. And probably Mario Mahara.
Familiar. Yeah, she
Which one?
does. She does look familiar. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, Audrey.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Alyssa Zender. And
No,
Alondra
I don't recall listening. Well, I think Alondra remembers me from something. I think he said at one point I spoke to him.
Okay. Yep. And then Nate Gray. I'm not sure if he was in the same programs, but it sounds like he was definitely in some. And then Carl Dory was in some, and people recall him. And then maybe Amanda Jonah Hartz as well. And then, so these are all folks who are going to be giving presentations on the main and secondary stages for the conference. It's 4 days of action-packed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday presentations, special event dinners, workshops during lunch and dinner as well. CE5 meditations on the beach to call in friendly UFOs. And we got, in addition to people who survive these programs, we got people who are more on the positive side of ET contact. We have people who are angelic healers, helping people recover their memories and heal from the traumas. And then we've got remote viewers, for example, like Yeme Janae of the Farsight Institute and Jessica Jones of the Cryptid Huntress, who have both of them have done remote viewing on people in these secret space programs.
Yeah.
People in the community will recognize Laura Eisenhower, great granddaughter of President Dwight Eisenhower. Yeah, you've got Miles Johnston of the Basis Project, who was reporting on Max Spears and James Casbolt back in the 90s. Later, back in the UK. later to be joined by Carrie Cassidy with Project Camelot, based here out of the U.S.
Yep.
So yeah, and then there's I tried to make the pricing as friendly as possible. $420 for an early bird admission ticket for 4 days and nights at a premium beach resort. The early bird VIP tickets, this includes 3 out of the 4 special event dinners with very limited seating, and of course you'll be seated with the presenters. And then I've got day passes. The foundation benefit dinner, I gotta fix the spelling there. That's to offset the money for the 501c3 foundation that we're incorporating to better assist the survivors of these programs and to get the word out. And I'm investing all this is all out of my own pocket. So I know that being the first year that I'm throwing this, hey, if I take a loss, that's okay, because I think with this lineup and the people want to go next year and the year after that, and then also they've got other projects they already want to do before we've done this conference. So there's a lot going on, and then here my presenters, we still are adding people. Johnny Enoch is part of our lineup as well as a couple other people we haven't added yet. And so we're very excited. There's a free beach event, a day of being, where they're getting together we're hoping maybe 1,000 starseeds and light workers during this free beach weekend, Saturday and Sunday, preceding our 4 days of the conference. And this is a great way for people to get together and do drum circles and really network. It's not just to hang out on the beach, but it's for people to find out where everyone else is from and what they're involved in and how we can all work together.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're definitely super excited. The drive right now is on to get people there, either in person or we've now made our live stream tickets available. And those are super reasonable. And we're really international with this. We've got a team will be there from Mexico, doing a lot of live streaming and reporting to the Spanish speaking communities, which I think they're kind of they're not as up to speed as the English speaking communities, I think, because it seems like a lot more people with testimonies are coming out on the English speaking side, if you will.
Yeah.
And then I'm super happy about the resort where we're going to be at. We got discounted rate rooms. If people want to get involved, they can reach out to me directly. I'm on Facebook. I'm very heavily shadow banned, but you can find me as Brian Sang. You can also add Solar B. That's one of my nicknames. And please send me a friend request and a message about how you'd like to get involved in the movement. Maybe you have a testimony to share. Maybe someone in the programs who'd like to come out of the SSP closet, if you will, with their own testimony. Maybe you're an eccentric millionaire and you want to help the cause and help all the struggling survivors out there who were promised that they would get great pay after being enslaved for 20 years or more in these programs, and they literally got dropped back off in the here and now with nothing to show for it but bad health and being targeted.
Yep. Yeah. It sucks.
It's a raw deal, and the pendulum is swinging back from injustice to justice, and it cannot and will not be stopped. This is a part of the program where I always like to say, hey, if you're someone on the wrong side of the fence, here's your chance to come to the right side and make good or offset whatever wrongs you've done so far, and try to make it right however you can, and to cleanse yourself and to know that your satanic masters are going down, and you do not want to be with them when they get thrown into the literal and proverbial fires, if you will.
Mm-mm.
And then I saw some questions in the chat there. Someone was asking, what are orbs? I mentioned those. Orbs, they're kind of think of like spirit balls, and they're not necessarily visible to the naked eye. Not everyone can see them. It seems people with high res night vision cameras can pick them up pretty easily these days, or people who are, they have their third eye opened, they can see the orbs. And the orbs tend to be manifestations of other dimensional beings, whether they're spiritual or maybe they're ETs, vibrating at a higher density. And they're if you look up orbs or spirit balls or orbs online, you'll definitely find a lot of information about all that.
Yeah. So I wonder what the tribute's going to be like to Danny. I wonder what made him do a tribute.
Oh, I think I don't know. It's maybe somehow John Whitberg heard about the passing of the physical body that Danny's altar was consciously driving, and he's done a lot on his own YouTube channel to memorialize not only the survivors of these programs but all the lost people, up to hundreds of thousands of people, children who are unsung and lost literally in time and space.
Lost in time and space. Yep.
Yeah. Apparently, Montauk 1.0, when they were first figuring out how to use a trip chair, was not pretty. I mean, and even afterwards, but especially during.
Yeah.
John said that he himself was never strapped into the chair, but he saw many a kid strapped in, and he said many a kid died, got fried on the spot because they couldn't handle it. They weren't compatible. Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
Burning up. Nope.
Do you have any recall of that?
Well, I was told by Anya Briggs, who's a psychic, that I was part of 2.0. That I was one of the Montauk boys that died in the chair, and they brought me back. Or I was brought back and through the cleanup of 2.0. So I might, that leads me to believe past life because of the age.
Or they regenerated you. Right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Grab your body out, throw in the regen tank that people talk about.
Yep.
Say they're able to recapture your soul up to 3 days.
Yep.
After you died, especially if they got your body on them.
Yeah.
And then John Whitberg in his free ebook there, The Man with Periwinkle Eyes, he reports on their soul capture technology.
Yeah, there is
technology to monitor where your soul is coming from, where it's going, and then they can use time travel to intercept you and then drag you into these programs.
Wow, my ears right now ring.
They're ringing?
Yep.
And I know it sounds crazy to people out there, but just know once you got time travel involved in ET technology that's millions of years old, all bets are off. They can do anything. So, whew. Well, any last questions or anything for me, Rocko, before I sign off here?
No, man. Thank you for coming on. And definitely send to others. Let them know that
I'm going to make it a point to extend to everyone an olive branch on your behalf to let them know that you would love to make peace with them, move on as a fellow survivor in the movement, perhaps be on their shows, have them on your show, and move forward together on a higher timeline. because that's what a higher timeline looks like.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah, and to the point where Ari Keems says he saw future timelines in these programs where there was memorial rose gardens to all the victims of the Montauk Project, the SSP victims. He said there were healing centers in places like the Native American reservations is where they first start out, like I think it's Alberta Shoals, Canada, or Lake Shoals. I always mess up the name. He said that at the one Rose Garden celebration, in one of the timelines, it's like you and Joseph both show up armed, and you protect the gates together and keep the paparazzi, the press, from invading the memorial.
Me and Joseph?
Yeah, that's a memory that Arkeem has in one of these alternate timelines or future timelines. And then he said, yeah, there's these televised tribunals where you're all wearing orange jumpsuits. And I said, Arkeem, why would you be wearing an orange jumpsuit? He said, well, because I was made to participate in these programs too, and they need to put us all on trial to sort out who's who and who did what. And he says that's a pretty complicated task.
Right. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So thanks for having me on. I'd love to be on back again. And
Absolutely.
If not before the conference and after. And anyone has any questions, please find me and reach out to me on social media. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you.
God bless. Cheers, brother.
Yep. Oh man, I definitely need to join after that. Oof. Starting to have some great memory. Be intense, but oof. So I hope you all enjoyed that interview. I know it was pretty. Oh man, I got it. Yeah. Well, it it is what it is. I mean, these people have memories of me. You understand? Like, more than one person has memories of me. Like, that tells you something right there. For a while, I was in denial about even being involved, like with certain parts of it, like the space program. But it's like now I can remember certain things when it comes to that. It's weird. Yeah, I got a couple of good. There's probably gonna be some more people eventually. Um, that was a really good interview. That was number 2. So, but yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, I'm still sitting here thinking about some of the stuff. I mean, I had no clue any of that stuff happened. I have no memory of any of what some of that stuff. Some of it I do, but some of it I don't. Wow. So wow. Yeah, we showed up with guns and it's crazy, man. What we can see, what some of us can see, some of you can't. Just a gift. That's all. Yeah, it was such a great show. I need to roll a joint. Ah. Square, and don't get mad at me because I didn't let you up on the panel. It was for one person only. I wasn't bringing other people up there. I am trying to, work on, a community of people. It's totally different, bud. It's totally different. It's I didn't do it intentionally either. You get your darn wrench back. Not. Not if you're gonna act like that, man. Come on. I was in the middle of an interview and you were just whatever. So what do you think, Mama Bird? That guy's pretty interesting. I might I might be speaking next year. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I really want to do publicly speak like that. I mean, yeah, I would do it. Just of the simple fact that he's right. We need to fight against the enemy, not one another that are intermingled in the community. We need to try to get along. I think that goes for any community, to be honest. Um, and trust me, you want to have a super soldiers on your side. You want to have people like that on your side. Um, Super soldier programming is no joke. That one place triggered the hell out of me. As soon as I saw the picture, I was like, whoa. This tastes really good. What kind of dog is that? Is that a trying to think what kind of dog she has on her picture. Um what the hell do they call? I don't know. Is it a lab? Black lab. Yeah. Kind of reminds me of my dad. He had a black lab. But yeah, Mama Bird, that is some deep. Oh no, I think so. I think so too. I was trying to figure out lab or yeah, it looks like a lab to me. I'll tell you that guy. I'm still kind of a little like thinking about some of the stuff that I was talking about. I really am. Now they're gonna clip part. I don't really give a shit though. It is what it is. Nobody's ever gonna fucking believe us. Um, you know, there's cures out there. There's all kinds of shit out there. Yeah, we were told that we're gonna have all this nice stuff. Never have to worry about nothing. But no, that's not what happens. Mm-mm. Nope. You know what happens? You know what happens, Mama Bird? We get thrown out like a piece of trash. That's what happens. Now, I do believe there might be some that work uh, hand in hand with people. The people that are not good. I mean, hell, I put that kid. I remember doing a lot of stuff to that Arkeem, man. That was, I really feel bad. Like, and I can't control what happened then. It's not, like I said, it could have been just a part of my soul um, on another timeline, or yeah, I don't shit. The possibilities are endless. Yeah, it's just I don't know what to think about it. I don't know what to think about it. But I don't know who you are. It's quite funny you guys stay away when somebody important is on here. It's a good thing you do. And what is your organization? Well, Gonzo, that's your opinion. That you know, I mean, oh yeah. Everybody has their own opinion. We all got opinions. Every one of us. Holy shit. Oh yeah, it kind it's one of those things you don't want to believe either. Sometimes it's like, it's like you don't want to believe it, but whenever you start reliving shit, and it comes more clearly to your mind. It's more like sound. So it's like audio playing, it's like a tape in your head just playing off. Like it's crazy. who knows? So many different ways to how they do things and why they do them. Yeah, I don't know who that is. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna call it a night.